like a exchange infrastructure, XI. And later it was process integration, PI 7.1 version. It was dual stack, both ABAP stack and dual stack we were having. And then PI 7.2, 7.3. And when 7.4 came into version, so the SAP removed the complete ABAP stack and they made it the only single stack. You would have aware of these things, right? Like dual stack, single stack versions, like PI was working. So, and it was PI process orchestration. When 7.4 version came, so PI process integration went off and process orchestration came into place. This is a name, okay? And then PI 7.5 came, and all these versions were on-premise versions. Like we used to install this, like this is software as a service applications. So we need to install the software, and we are responsible for the maintenance of the system. So SAP is not responsible for the software as a service, which is called PIPO. Normally, PIPO will call the on-premise versions as PIPO to compare both process integration and process orchestration, both. And then came the cloud version. Since the complete, I can tell the world is moving towards cloud, and SAP also gave about a new integration tool called Cloud Integration. I mean to say the first name was HANA Cloud Integration, which is called HCI. From here, the very first cloud integration tool name was HANA Cloud Integration. Over the years, I think in the decade, I do not remember the year exactly. So for branding purpose, so they changed the HANA Cloud Integration name to Cloud Platform Integration. So SAP HCI and SAP CPI is both are the same. Only the name for branding purpose, they change it to CPI. And now even CPI also, they have removed the term platform. So instead of cloud platform integration, it is called now cloud integration. If you see in the screen here, if you see, it is called cloud integration. Can you see here?
Yeah. Yes.
So earlier, where I highlighted, earlier it was cloud platform integration. But again, this is also again for name branding purpose. So again, the concept, technology, tool, everything is same. So now, but we are spelling it as a CPI, but terminology wise, it is called cloud integration. So again, if some people who are working from HCI days, some people might be saying HCI, some people might be saying CPI, some people might be saying cloud integration, all are same. And to tell you again, so see earlier PIPO was an on-premise tool, so we were responsible for everything, for maintenance system, everything. And here it is complete, it is a PaaS, PASS, means platform as a service. It is just like we subscribe it and we use it. So SAP handles the complete server. We don't need to worry about these things and nothing. We no maintenance, no nothing else. Because I worked in PIPO also. Because when we were working in PIPO every month, the last week of the month, so we used to do the maintenance activities for keeping the system up to date. Right. So those things has been avoided, and we have many other advantages over the on-premise tool when comparing with the cloud. So just regarding the advantages, we'll move on to we'll discuss it in detail. So just wanted to give the brief description about CPI. Any doubts about on CPI? I mean, just on the topic, what is CPI?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine.
Clear.
Okay. So let me start from the cockpit itself. Instead of going directly to CPI, I'll just give a very brief description. So this is, earlier it was, I think, SAP Cloud Platform something. So now it is called SAP Business Technology Platform, SAP BTP. Okay, this is called the cockpit. Okay, if you see here, SAP BTP cockpit, the complete, all the integration suite, extension suite, everything stays here. So I'm just signing it here. I'll just show. So I already created account. We are using this for training purpose. So I'll just log into there. I have already created a sub account. I'll tell you maybe in second class, third class, I'll tell you how to create this trial account and get an account for your own. So here we'll be having extension suite and integration suite. For the UI5 developers, or maybe I think if you're working in cloud, you'll be use this extension suite for coding and all. So as an integration developer, we work on this integration suite. Okay.
What is the sub account, Karan?
Yeah, in the trial account, we need to create one sub account for the integration suite. I'll tell you this is a separate class how to go get the how to assign the roles, role collections, how to create our own trial account. I'll tell you in separate class. Okay. I'm just
Okay.
showing you. Okay. Actually, my main motive regarding this is to I'll just show you one. So in integration suite, I just want to show what are the things out there. So here comes the integration suite. If you see here, so this is comprised of integration suite. If you see here, the cloud integration. So nowhere you can see like cloud platform integration. So everywhere they have changed the names to cloud integration. So this is called CPI, the first one. Okay, the second one is called API management, and the third and fourth integration advisory and TPM, trading partner management. This is comprised of B2B. Okay, it's for business to business applications. And the fifth one is called open connectors. We'll be discussing on these things. And now this is called the CPI. When you want to move from the cockpit to CPI, I'm just showing you the path. Okay. So I'm just clicking on the CPI screen. So this will be your basic, the home screen of your cloud integration. Okay. So unlike in PI/PO, we do not have different screens for design, for monitoring and anything. So everything we do it here itself. And one more very major advantage of cloud integration over, cloud over on-premise here is, in cloud, we have, you can see here, there are 397 standard packages. Package under package will be having package nothing but a folder. Inside the packages, we'll be having all the standard integrations, which we can directly subscribe and use. For all the standard systems, SAP has given the standard integrations. We can just subscribe and use. It's more or less, I can tell, they have automated the things.
Okay.
So all these things will be updated time to time. If you're working in X company or working in Y company or something, any tenant, so this will be the same. You can see this will be keep on updating time to time. Now it is like 397. If you can see here, published 2 days ago, published 3 days ago, something. It will be like, it will keep on updating time to time. Okay, wherever you work, this will be the same. The design tab, everything will be different. That will be different. Nobody can look into the other tenant, this one. Tenant will be different, but the discover tab, I mean to say, the standard packages will be the same.
Okay.
And here, if you see, we have 4 tabs here, or maybe still 5 tabs. The first thing is discover, which we are here. Discover in the sense we will be having these standard packages. I'll just open one just for as it is first class, just to show you how here. So the package will be like this. If you see here, see, this is the flow they have. See, if you see here, SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central integration with Allied. So from SuccessFactors to say some Allied system, they have integrated. So this is already there. So it is just like they will be seeing whatever the integrations or I can say it is repeating for many clients, they will be updating those integrations. It completely depends on SAP. Okay. And one more advantage of these integrations is whenever these integrations will update in the future for any change or anything. So whenever we configure this, our integrations will also be updated automatically. If there is any update for this integration, this will also be updated, which is present in our tenant also. In case if you configure and use this one. So let me move back to the, just gave you the brief description about the discover. The second thing is the very important tab, which is called the design tab. Okay, in the design tab, you'll be having different you can create your package of your of your name, any name or something else. So under that, you can create it. So package, I am telling you again, is nothing but a folder. It's just a folder to group all the interfaces. And in PI/PI, we used to call as interface, and here also we call it as interface only. And the design which we call it as integration flow. I repeat, I'm telling the terminology. It is called integration flow, and in short form, people call it as I flows. For integration, it represents I and flows, I flows. Okay, so if I open it here, these are all done by the previous batch people actually. So if you see here, these are all, yeah, please.
Sorry to interrupt. So, can we find some standard package the way we have SAP ABAP, like the way you are telling about the iFlow, right?
Yes.
In terms of CPI. So do we have any standard packages?
Standard package for which system?
For any system, like if you talk about success factor or
See, I'll
like,
tell you. Yeah, it's a very good. See, if you see here, so let us think if I want success factors. I just want to search it here. We have a search tab. We just want to search it like this. SAP success factors. We'll have a complete list. Okay. Click search. If you see, I have 60 packages found for success factors.
Very good. Right.
So here I need to search again one by one. So which exact what is my target system, and even for target. See, now let us think for service now. Let us remove success factors and go for service now.
Okay.
See, I got only 5 packages. For service now tool, we have only 5 packages. So we need to see. And see, one advantage and disadvantage I'll tell you. Here, if you there will be if we configure this and directly, I mean, what I can say, if you configure to our tenant and if we use this, any future updates which is applicable for that particular iFlow will be applicable for the same thing also. But in case if we are editing this iFlow, we have the option to edit also. Okay. After we configure this iFlow to our tenant, means from design tab, it comes to, from the discover tab, the iFlow comes to the design tab. Okay. Correct. If you do any small dummy edit, any one edit also, then SAP will not be responsible for that iFlow.
So if something goes wrong, how we can come back to previous as normal status?
Yeah, see, if you want to configure, you can reconfigure it again. The iFlows will be there. And you have the save as version as well. You can go back to your previous version. But again, that means there is some edit. You have edited the iFlow. You're getting right?
Yeah.
I'm just want to say, if you have not edited anything and you have just configured from the Discover tab to the Design tab, then any future updates for this interface, SAP will take care. But if you did any dummy edit or any basic edit also, then it means like the ownership has transferred from SAP to you.
Okay.
So any future updates will not come to this interface.
Right.
Okay. And I just showed right how to get the package. Okay. It will be like, see, most of the time, let us think the 100% requirement will not be met. Let me think there is some success factors. There is some failure glass system. Okay.
Okay.
And 90% of my requirement is met and 10% is differing. Then I'm forced to edit that iFlow, right?
Even though we can create the package according to the customer needs, right? Also.
Yes.
Right.
The package just like see here we just kept a batch 1, batch 2 for testing something. Right. Previous batch people, you can create everything should be meaningful. Means even if somebody comes and see, it should be meaningful. The package name should be meaningful. The description should be meaningful. Everything should be meaningful.
Okay.
So
this is where we create.
Right.
Yeah, Karan, you were saying about, I mean, what is the best way to enhance the standard iFlow then if there is a 10% deviation?
Yeah, we need to do, then we don't have any option. Then you will be the owner. Then that you cannot do anything.
No, without disturbing that, can we copy it into a custom one and then?
Yeah, you see, some people, they take it as a reference, they do it. Some people, they copy it. It depends on the developer again.
But we have that option, right? I mean, we can copy it.
Yeah, we have that option. We have that. Only the update will not come. We have that option. It means like it's your iFlow, right? If you're doing any change, you're doing anything, then you will be the owner of that.
Correct.
So these are the iflows. I'll just tell you, I mean, after creating this. So, and in CPI, I'll tell you again the way of working. It's as simple. Like if you click on this, a new tab will not open. If you click on like this, a new tab will not open. So the best way of working is right click, do a duplicate tab, so that you'll not move across this one. So you can create one tab for design. You can create one tab for monitoring. You can create multiple tabs like this.
So how many tabs you can open maximum?
Yeah, you can open as many as you want. No, not an issue.
Okay.
See, ideally you'll be opening 4 or 5. Even if you open many, also it will create unnecessary confusion. Okay. So it's almost better to create one tab for design, one tab for monitoring, or any other 2 or 3 or 4. That's it. You can create. Again, I'm telling you, it's again confusion. It creates confusion. So here, this is the screen for the monitoring page, where we monitor the flows which has been triggered. I'll just click here. Since we are not tested anything for the past hour, it is here. So if I put for past month, I'm just putting. If you see here, I can see there are many flows. So completed means it is successful, failed means it is failed. Here you will be having all the list of items. If you select here, if I select it here, I can see complete list of flows which have been created for all the last batches and all. If you see here, I'll get complete list. So by say we have the custom monitoring. So by selecting the iFlow, by selecting this one, we can do it here. This is called monitoring screen. So the other two is called for B2B. So that we will discuss it later. So basically we can focus it on one is discover, second is design, and third is monitoring. Here we have even in the monitoring screen, we have many things like security material, key store, certificates, data store, queues, many things we have. So all these things will be covered. Each and everything will be covered. Okay. So now let's move on to the design tab. So now I'll just create one batch. Okay. You can view anything, any meaningful name. Okay. So just see, now I have created a package by name batch 6 and just given a description like CPI training. So if you see in the artifacts, you will not be having anything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm creating a very basic, not basic interface. I'm creating an iFlow to get the data from an OData service. Okay. So now I'll just create, see if you click on add, click on the first one, integration flow. So click on first flow, and here I'll be creating the HTTP underscore. See, as soon as you click on OK, it's been created. And you said, right, how we can go back to this one? This is called versions. Here we can go, move up and down recording the versions. We can move towards the development, upwards, and we can move downwards also. But now it's not created. I will show you next step. Okay. We can go back and we can go front and we can go back also. And if I click on this, so this is the screen where we will be developing our interfaces. This is a very basic screen. So as soon as you create, give the name and create the interface, iFlow, this screen will be present. So then you can click on edit on the top right corner, and these are all the list of palette options. If you click on each and every one by one, you will be getting list of options here. So you can check the course content, all the topics will be covered. All the topics are being listed and all these things will be discussed one by one. For each class, we'll be taking 1 or 2 topics and we'll be showing it practically.
Fine.
In the top, you'll be having, okay. Earlier, maybe I think 6 months back, it was on the left side, and now again they have updated it. It has moved to top. Now see, and again I'm telling you, this sender and this receiver, if you'll see it here, if you see here, you'll see it here. These are called virtual senders and virtual receivers.
Okay.
Means this sender, if you see, nothing will be there in this. Only you can change the name, that's it. Other than that, nothing you can change. This sender will be not having any technical details. And this receiver will not be having any technical. This just, I can say like it's a dummy box. But it acts as like a virtual receiver and virtual sender. So this sender can be anything. It can be S4HANA, it can be SuccessFactors, anything. Means this is a system which is going to connect to CPI. This is a system which is going to receive the message from CPI.
So how we can integrate sender and receiver and all?
Yeah, I'm telling you. See now in the sender, okay. So now our sender will be a Postman tool, okay. You guys are aware of Postman, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just dragging. If this is called connector, I'm just dragging to this. And before that, I want to tell you. So start is where the message comes to CPI, into CPI, and end is where the message moves out of CPI. Okay, and in between here and here, the actual message processing happens in CPI. So now I'm from sender. If you click on sender, just click on sender. This is called the connector. Just drag this connector and place it on the start message. So if you place it on the start message, you'll have the list of adapters here. So these are all the list of adapters which has been available for connecting to the sender system. You can see we have AMQP, Ariba, AS24, FTP, HTTP, IDOC, JMS, Kafka, Mail, OData, Process Direct, SFTP, SOAP, SuccessFactors, and XSLT. So I think these adapters, as an ABAP developers, you would have heard, because we're connecting to the ABAP system. Most probably we'll be using now when it comes to CPI, we will be using OData. We can use proxies. Those things has been moved here, removed here. We can use file. We can use OData, and we can use many things.
So like take for IDOC.
IDOC also we can use IDOC as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So for now, as we are using Postman tool, so I'm selecting as a HTTP. Okay. So HTTP means what will happen? I'll just show you. So in the connection, see in the connection, we need to generate an endpoint URL to give it to the source system. So whenever we are using source system, I mean HTTP in the sender system means that CPI people, we need to generate an endpoint URL and then we need to share it to the source system. And apart from the URL, the credentials will be shared. That will be in a one-time process. Well, this starting of the project, the CPI credentials that will be shared. But as part of the interface, we need to share the endpoint URL. So let us see how to generate the endpoint URL. Okay. So here I'm putting like, I just put like interface one. If you see here, I just put like slash, this is called this terminology, okay, slash, you can give any meaningful name, interface one. Okay. So now what I'm doing, I'm saving it as a version. Sorry. I'm saving it as a version. See, version is, I'll just put as 1.2. You can add any comment. I'll just show where it reflects. Okay. I'll just put endpoint URL. Now it is just saved. It is not moved to the cloud. It is just saved in our tenant. So if you want to move to the account means, cloud account means, we need to deploy it. If you see here we have. And the status also, you can see it in the top. Deployment status, whether it is deployed or not deployed. So here it is not deployed. So just go back and deploy it. So you see HTTP OData scenario is triggered for deployment. It's successfully deployed. You got the pop-up also. Now immediately you can go back to the monitoring screen. And in the first tab, I said you the iFlows will be there. Now we have only deployed, so we'll not see here. All the deployed iFlows, you can see it in the second tab, which is called Manage Integration Content. So here you can see HTTP OData scenario. Here you can see. This is our scenario. It is started means it's successfully deployed. And if you see here, this is our endpoint URL.
That is the final URL.
And this is the final URL which we will
Okay.
be sharing to the source system. And if you see the name which we created here, interface 1, it got it here.
Yeah.
In the last, it will get it added in the at the end of the iflow, at the end of the endpoint URL. So what happens when we share this URL means any target, any source system who is going to hit this URL with the CPI credentials, if they hit this URL, the message enters into our CPI.
Okay.
And into CPI and to this iflow, the message reaches this particular iflow. Okay, so I'm just copying this. I'll go to Postman tool.
If CPI wants to start the interface, then this URL is not required.
No, it's not required. If CPI wants to do, it's not required. This is only for HTTP.
Okay.
If you want, so I will move discuss about adapter wise. So we can just focus on HTTP. So for HTTP, if you want to, let us think, source system is asking an endpoint URL. They said like, okay, give me an endpoint URL. I'll just hit the data to that URL or send the data to the particular URL. Then you can go for HTTP and generate an endpoint URL. It is very simple. Just go give some meaningful name. Like normally you'll be having the RISF IDs, right? So you can give some RISF ID so that it will be unique. And again, I forgot to say, this name should be unique. If you go and create one more interface with name interface 1, it will not get deployed.
Obviously, right? Always it could be unique.
Yeah, no, I'm telling if people create like interface 1, again somebody will come and again create interface 1. So that is why, so better way of working is to better use these RISF IDs which the interface will be having. So now as a testing purpose also, if I create one more interface like /interface1 or something, so this interface will work. The first interface will work. The second interface, it will throw error. It will not get deployed. So all the development you can do, but at the end, it will not work. Okay. Now I just copy this. You can copy it here. I'm going to Postman. So under post, I'm just pasting the endpoint URL. Okay. This is something, some test data. I'll just discuss it later. So now, did you understand about sender and start?
Yeah.
So now see, I just have some credentials as well. I'll just add it to 1 minute.
These are your tenant credentials or?
These are tenant credentials.
Okay.
I'll tell you when I said, right, we have one session about the cockpit, how to get the credentials. These are not the credentials to
No,
can say like
this
is
password, right? How can we generate the password, or we can copy the same thing as a user name?
No, see, for logging to CPI, the credentials that is different, and this is different for Cloud Foundry. So we have two environments in CPI. Those things I'll discuss it in the this API architecture class. So we have to, when we are dealing with Cloud Foundry tenant, so the username and password, we get it in the JSON file. In the cockpit, we need to get it. You'll be having one unique password, username and password for each tenant.
Okay.
That in the cockpit unit, we have a separate path to generate it. So there you can go and copy. So since it takes time, I have already copied before the class so that we can move on to the this one. Okay. I will show you completely in the further sessions. I will tell you how to get this username and password. So normally the basis people, they will share it with you, but as an integration person, we need to know at least so where we are going to get these details and all. Okay, this will be in a JSON file. In that from JSON file, we need to get this. So now in the authorization, in the basic authorization, I have given this username and password. In the body, I have kept this one. So now if I'm just pushing the message here. Oh my God. Perfect. 1 minute. One sec. Yeah, understood what is the issue. So here we have one more option. Like if you see here in the HTTP channel, you have this here cross-site request for this some protected. Okay, this is an advanced level of protection in CPI to avoid unknown source systems to access the CPI. Okay, so for testing purpose, you can uncheck this one. Okay, I'm saving it and deploying it again. Go back to Postman 2. I click on send. Now if you see, status is 200. 200 means it's okay. And if you see the response, whatever the request you have sent, you have got the response as it is. Did you see? Did you notice this? So the top one is the request one, the bottom one is the response one. But if you see our development, we have not did anything. So what I mean to say here is, by default, the CPI interfaces will act as a synchronize. Synchronize means request and response. So what I want to say here is, here sender means this is a virtual sender. Now here the sender, Postman is acting as a sender system. Now Postman is sending the message to CPI. So message as entered at start 1. 1 minute, guys. The Postman is sending the message to CPI. So message is entered in start. So it has moved. So whatever the message that reaches to end message, so that will be sent back to the source again. So in case you would have come across synchronous scenarios, right? Like S4 is sending to CPI, CPI needs to send to some third-party system, and third-party system sends a response back to CPI. So in such cases, we do this transformations, everything here, and we just give the response to end. So in backend, this will be sent back to the source from wherever it is coming. So it will be sent back. So if Postman is sending, so response will send back to Postman. If S4 is sending, S4 it will go back. Satisfied is sending, the response will go back. So here, since Postman is sent, we have not did any transformations. So whatever the request we have sent, the response we got in the, you can see here, in the response, we have got it here.
Yeah, Karan, in that URL, we didn't give any that employee cost distribution, that structure we didn't give anywhere. How the structure came?
We're not giving anything here.
But how the structure got generated automatically, that employee cost distribution?
See, this is
the
this is the payload which we are sending. This is source payload.
Okay, but on receivers, okay, this is source payload. Okay. Yeah.
This is the source payload which we are sending. So it came as it is. It didn't change anything. We didn't do any transformations, right?
Correct.
So it came as it is. We didn't touch at all. It's just like it went, it came back.
Just like the way you import and export, right? The way function module.
Yes.
Here, where is the URL here in this? In the Postman?
So this is URL.
That is URL.
In the post, I have put the URL and I have triggered the message. I got it, the response back.
But we don't mention anything about the payload in the CPI set?
No, we are not mentioning anything. No need to mention anything. See, we are very beginning level of the okay. When we move on to the next levels, you will come to know how we are dealing the payloads and all. It's a very basic level. We're not touching. We're not looking into data. It's just message has come to CPI, come back. That's it.
Okay.
So now let's get back to the iFlow. I want to tell you about the OData also, right? So let's move on to fast. So now here from end message, one sec, guys, I'll just copy the OData URL. Just give me a minute. See now from end message, I'm giving to the virtual receiver. Okay. So now again, I have the list of same more or less similar adapters. So I'm selecting the OData. Okay. OData, I'm selecting the message protocol. So here we have some cloud OData URL. So I'm giving it here. For this URL, we do not have it's not required to have any authentication. So this is a cloud, it's present in cloud. So it is accessible over internet, and no authentication is required for this particular OData service. So now if you go on to the processing, it means that what is meant by OData means we can look into that system and get the details. Now, if you see, we are going to get the details. We have different operations like get, post, put, update. We have. So now, as for today's class, I'm just using the get call. So using get call, see if you go on to select, means you will get two options here. One is connect to system. The other is select entity and define operations. So for normal details means we need to give this authentications and all. But since this is a cloud URL which is used for testing purpose, so there is no authentication required. So in the real time means, so only this, if all the authentication details are correct, and if it is working, then only it will move to the second step. Even now here also, only if the URL is fine, then it will move on to the second step. For an example, instead of SVC, I'll just put SVP. If I click on this, it will not work. An exception occurred. Okay. So now I'll go back and change it to SVC. Now, if you click on step 2, it means all the URLs are checked and the authentication is done. Means here no authentication. That's okay. It's done. And now we have CPI has looked into the target system. So here we have the get operation. If you click on here, you just put your cursor, just do a left click here. You'll have all the entities which are present in the target system, which are called custom review. These are the entities which is present in the cloud OData URL which I have given, OData system. You have different entities here. So randomly I'm selecting like a products entity. So if you see here in the products entity, you have many fields. If you see, so normally this is the way which we connect to web systems also, S4HANA system also we connect this way. Normally for any custom OData service you create, you give the entity name, the URL, and using that URL, we look into your system and we can select whatever the fields we want and we can generate the structure. Okay. So key fields, it's mandatory to select. So we can select it. So I am just selecting some other 2 fields. Okay. And somebody was asking like how we generate the structure, right? So here we can
also use some custom entity as well.
See, entity should be created in the target also target system. If you're selecting to target, there you should create. We cannot create it here.
There itself, then it will display here.
Yes, any changes you do there, it will reflect it immediately. If you change the name from category to something like CM something, so immediately the category name also will change. You're getting right?
So how we can use, okay, carry on, I'll ask later on a question.
See, any name changes, any field name changes, any addition, deletion of the fields, any structures, anything you do it in the, let us say I'm taking this in S4HANA system, any changes you do it in the S4HANA system will replicate here in CPI. Means we need to again reconnect it. It will not do it automatically. Immediately, it's not like, okay, you do some change in S4HANA, it will not replicate immediately. It means again, we need to look into the source or target system and we need to pull, then the new data will be updated. Okay. And to generate the structure, here we have the option. Okay. We can generate the structure and we can give any other name, any meaningful name for the structure also. So if you come down, we have the filter conditions as well. Now I'm not going to that. So for us, it is very first session. So what I have did, we had looked into the OData system. We have selected one product entity. We are generating the structure. We have selected some 3 fields and now we are closing it. Okay. 1 minute. Now I'm just clicking on finish. So as soon as you finish, if you see, so whenever you select for the OData, for the first time, whenever you select, it's gone. Okay. For the first time, whenever you select, an EDMX file will be generated. Okay. And apart from the structure, if you that is optional. If you want, you can select. If you don't want, you can uncheck it. So I'm just selecting me somewhere. You can just click on somewhere in the white space. Whatever the file generated, it will be there under resources. If you click on resources, now you can see there will be two files. You can see there is an EDMX file, means that for the particular system which we created, and there is a structure. If you click on this one, products entity gate, there will be an XSD message with the three fields which we selected. If you see, this is the entity called product ID we have selected, which is a key field, category, and category name.
Right.
So here I said you right, even if you make any changes like occurrence, maximum length, minimum length, any changes, you do it in the latest thing like S4 system. So it will replicate it here. But the only thing is we need to again repull it, redo it. It will not be automatically. So again, we need to look into the system. Again, we need to pull it. Clear till now or any questions?
Yes, clear, Karan.
Right.
Okay. So now I'm saving it as a version. So now work on version. I'm just put the OData. I just put the OData adapter. Okay, and I'm deploying it. Deploying it, I'm moving to the cloud. So it's triggered for deployment. You can just wait for a few seconds. You can see successfully deployed. If there is any error, you'll get a pop-up here itself. Or anything, then we have one more thing, like if there is any system there detected errors also, if you click somewhere in the white space and go back to problems, so this is a warning. Warnings you can ignore. The system will also detect the errors if you make many blunders.
So if the warning comes, so we cannot deploy in production work, right?
No, this
we
can be
cannot
ignored.
right?
No, we can do it. Warnings can be ignored. Nothing. No, not an issue.
But in SAP ABAP system, we cannot transport.
No, here we can do it. I'm not sure who's speaking. Here we can do it.
Okay.
These things we can ignore. Only the errors. It's not. You can see now it's deployed. It will work also. It's deployed. Now you can go and see.
So how to resolve this warning?
See, this is, you can see, may not pass XML message. It's not telling correctly.
Okay.
It will pass actually. It is just giving that this HTTP may not pass. But in CPI, it's not only XML. You can send any format of the message. Okay. So now, if you see, I just refreshed. It is in the starter state. So deployment is done. So now what this URL be doing means, so I can send any data or I cannot send. So I'll not be sending any data, okay? Because we're doing a get call. So I'm not, if you see here, I'm not sending any data. Now what will happen? It will go to CPI. It will trigger this interface. What I'm doing, I'm just triggering this interface using the Postman tool. I mean, Postman is my sender. Using Postman tool, using an HTTPS call, I'm hitting this interface. I'm making this interface run. So the interface is going here, and here it is calling this OData service. And using the get call, if you see here, the query will be built here. I forgot to say, whatever you select, the query will be built here in the select. It has selected these fields. The query has been built here. So it will fetch all the fields. Okay. So let me push and see what happens. Can you see? You got all the fields here. Data.
Yes.
So whatever the three fields we have selected, since we have not put any filter, I'll just copy it and put it for better understanding. If you see, it's very huge data. There are many fields. That's why we have selected only three fields. Since we have not put any filter, it put all the product details which is present in the product's entity. No filter is applicable. So you can see product ID is different. 611042 different. So in further classes, we will see how to filter based on particular ID, how to sort, how to do this on the OData calls. That will be discussed in further classes. So just to show you here. So here, if you go back to monitoring screen now, click on overview. And if you see here, there will be two messages. One is initially which we selected. The other thing is here. And by default, in CPI, it's not advisable to see any data in between. In production systems, any logging is not recommended. So till testing or development, we can do the loggings. It's like looking into the payload. Since sensitive data will be passing through the integration tool, so it's never ever recommended to store any production data or to look into to make the production data visible. Okay, such there are the designs which we can see the data. So the such designs are not recommended. For testing and development, we have the options like using the Groovy script or using the trace mode that I will tell you in further classes.
Okay.
So now I will tell you one more concept. See, like somebody was asking, right, how to move to the previous versions. So now if you click on here, the versions, earlier it was only 1. If you see, now it is 1.3, 1.0.3. If you click here, you'll have 3 versions, 1.0, 1.2, 1.3. If you move on more, you'll get it very clear description. Okay, here the endpoint URL has been created. Here the OData adapter has been added. Like whenever you're doing a complex iFlow, it's always recommended instead of save, use save as version, so that you'll be having a track how the iFlow has been developed step by step. Suppose all of a sudden you want to go back to previous version, just click on this one. See, if you click on this endpoint URL, if I click this, see, OData is gone.
Okay.
So if you want to get back again, click on again, just go back. So you can see where is OData is added. So OData is added in 1.3, which is below 1. So double click. Okay, that's it.
Kind of roadmap, right?
Yes, you can move front and back. But
Yeah.
only thing is, whenever you go across the versions, you should deploy it.
So suppose that like we have done everything perfectly, but output is not coming, deployment is not happening. How we can test it?
So we have the option like, I mean, that's again, we have the simulation option.
Yeah.
Even if it's not deploying, we see, I said you right, first thing is we can go to the problems tab. All the system blunders, it will show, like it's more like a compilation error. It will show you here. Even if you don't want, okay, you're facing like the complete iFlow is not working and you're worried where exactly you have done a mistake, you have the simulation option, like block by block. At least for 10 blocks, it will work. At a time, for 10 blocks, it will work. 10 palette options. So you can test block by block or you can test 10 blocks and you can see where the error is exactly happening. It's like deep diving the error. Suppose you had a complex development, like you have use some, let us say some 20 palette options, and all of a sudden it's not working, and you're worried where it's happening. That you have again trace mode is there. You have different options. Not sure who's asking. You have different options. We have the trace mode where we can see very step by step how the interface is coming, working, and all. And if you want, that is very simple. I'll just show it here itself. So which you can select it here. The log configuration, if you go to trace, just to find out the where exactly. Now it's not error. So after enabling the trace, you need to trigger it again. So I'll go back to the monitoring. See, just for showing it to you, but these things we'll be discussing when the respective session comes. So I'll tell you in a very detailed way how to look into the trace works and all. So now if you see, click on, I'm just telling how the trace will look.
Okay.
See here, if you see, just wait for a second, it will get updated. See, this is our iFlow. So from top to, from the trace, we can see from bottom to top. It's not from top to bottom, it's from bottom to top. So step by step, if you click here, you can see the message content. How the message has processed from step by or the step by step. So nothing is there. This for if you see here, no content will be there. No data is there. See, no data is there. But if you see in the last step, it has fetched the data. If you see here, what happened? Okay, since this gets called not showing. So in step by step in the trace mode, you can see it from bottom to top. So like you said, where you want to find the error. So whenever you find the error, you get a red envelope. Okay, then you can see, okay, where here exactly the error has happened. Let us say some error has occurred. Anyway, you'll have the error description. That is second, that is primary. And anyway, if you like, okay, even with the error description, you're not knowing, okay, where exactly the error happened. Then you can see when you enable the trace mode, you can see the red envelope. So by seeing it here, if you see it is here, it means like there is some issue with source. If you see it here somewhere in any block, you can feel like, okay, in that particular block, something wrong has happened. On the respective logs, you can see it here. The very detailed log, you'll be having it. These things, when you have the error, it will be having in detail. So since this is a successful message, it's not having such logs. Any questions till now? Because I just want to show one basic scenario, like triggering a message from Postman and getting the data from using our data query. So I think I felt like this will be better. I mean, a little bit of interesting as it is for very first class, right? Instead of saying some theoretical or explaining about CPI architecture. So if I explain about CPI architecture, it will be more of a boring class, right?
Okay.
If you have any questions, you can ask me regarding training or other topics or anything.
Yeah, I mean, does Groovy script also would be covered?
Yeah, it will be. It will not be. I mean, very basic level. I will be telling because so again, Groovy script. When you know about the programming language, it will be better. When you know about Java, so it will be like a cakewalk for you. It will be more or less similar only. And when you're good in programming in any other programming language, also it is easy for you. And I'll be telling about the very basics of, I mean, how to write the code in Groovy. Also, I'll be telling you.